Hey guys, welcome back. Today's video is really special because not only do I have an incredibly special guest with me, but the content is, when I say iconic, I mean iconic and then some. Iconic squared. Today I am joined by the one and only Barvo, or Bravo as you might know him. Ex-343, ex-professional Halo player, Halo coach, caster now, among many other things. Bravo, thank you for joining me today, dude.
Dude, thank you for having me on the channel. I'm a long-time viewer, first-time guest, so excited to be here, dude. Thanks for having me on the channel.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate it. So let's get down into the good stuff, because the reason you're here today is very exciting. So a few weeks ago, Bravo let me in on this thing that he's been working on for a while, which is essentially a Halo 2 documentary called Halo 2 Artifacts, where he sits down with the one and only Max Hoberman of Bungie and now Certain Affinity, who was one of the biggest driving forces behind Halo 2's multiplayer, and just talks with him for a long time about cut features of Halo 2, ideas they had for Halo 2, and so many other things that maybe didn't make the drawing board. And today, Bravo has joined me to kind of discuss this project and talk about some of the stuff in it, and also share some exclusive details about elements of the project, including the Flood Juggernaut. So
that's right. That's right.
I'm excited for this one.
Yeah, me too. We should. That's like a good place to start. Now that we're recording this a bit early, so people will have maybe heard the trailer. The trailer just came out. So if you haven't heard it, make sure to catch the trailer. But this started with kind of me just showing you a few Halo projects I was working on, and one of them was this project. And you sent you the trailer. You were kind enough to be excited about it.
Dude, it was unbelievably exciting. There's no way I was not going to be excited about that.
Thank you, man. It means a lot. I guess just like a bit of background on the show. We've just crossed the 1 year mark for working on the project. Nice. It's kind of crazy that it's been that long. But yeah, excited to bring some exclusive clips to the channel.
Absolutely, man. I mean, people are going to love what we're about to show off. So I say we waste no more time and jump right into it.
Yeah, sounds great. So just like a quick bit of background on the show. We've all seen Max's tweets about like Halo 2 design documents and all these little tidbits that he's like breadcrumbed out through the years. So about a year ago, I came to Max and I was like, hey man, it's the middle of the pandemic. There's not a whole lot we could do. What if we sat down, did a podcast series where we told the whole story of all these Halo 2 design documents? So I got some stuff we can show on the channel, but there's over 280 unreleased documents and prototypes. You've got plans for in-game tournaments, observer mode, cut maps, weapons, power-ups, and more. Stuff that you and I nerd out about so much.
Absolutely. Dude, cut content is my bread and butter, so this is just like a dream right here.
Yeah, and so luckily Max was into it. He was like, yeah, let's go ahead and do this. So like some quick project facts. We've recorded over 10 hours of audio. We brought in some special guests. Like I didn't know anything about editing audio. I didn't know how to use Audition. So I had to like teach myself Adobe Audition, had to like find a bunch of tech solutions to record remotely and like get cloud backups and all this stuff. But 10 hours of audio essentially turned into, I can't believe it, but it turned to a 300-hour edit, probably approaching 350. Because just like making sure I told this story, because it wasn't like a straight recording. My pre-production probably could have saved me, 100 hours of time more. But essentially, I took all of our 10 hours of audio and like distilled it down into 4 episodes. So it's been an insane year. It's like my biggest creative undertaking ever. And yeah, I'm pretty stoked on it. So it means a lot that you're as excited about it as you are, for sure.
Dude, absolutely. Any chance I get to dive into anything regarding Halo 2's development or cut content, any chance to get for stuff like that, I'm on board just immediately.
And I'm stoked too, because I got a few clips, like we said, that I think your channel's going to dig. I'm not showing these anywhere else. Like these won't go to social. These are just for your channel. So pretty excited about them. I guess I'll quickly give like the look at the 4 episodes really quick, and then we'll get into those clips. Cool, that sounds good. Episode 1 is like the beginning. Max's early days at Bungie. He like packs everything in his car, he drives to Chicago, sleeps on a cot for 2 weeks, has to ship Myth. Just like amazing stories that I had never heard. So half of this show is just, not half, more than half. Most of this show is just me like sitting with Max and like hearing these amazing stories. And some special guests from like the early days and Xbox Live team as well. Episode 2 is like, you could say maybe the real meat of the series. I use, I was going to say bread and butter, but you'd already said that, but I'll say meat, which also has a lot of importance to your audience too.
Absolutely.
Episode 2 is like the social revolution. We got a special guest. His name is Sam Charchian. He was like Max's right-hand man on the Xbox Live side during the entire like lead up to Halo 2. And it's pretty much how they had to convince all of Xbox Live to abandon plans for what was called Xbox Live 2.0 and Xbox Live 3.0 in favor of Bungie's like vision for the future. I had to do an episode all about maps. So episode 3 is all Halo 2 map design. And that's just like this small team building. Like I told you this, the first 2 maps that team made were Lockout and Midship. Like,
yeah, absolutely. Crazy. I mean, it's crazy they came out the gate with 2 of the most iconic, not just like Halo maps of all time, but maps in general of all time. Exactly. That's insane.
Yeah, they're just coming out with bangers. But we also talk about like cut maps. So a lot of I have like all these half-made map plans in these documents that Max shared. So he's tweeted a little bit of that, but we dive into some really cool stuff and like concept maps and stuff like that. And episode 4 is the grand finale. This is where I went through every single document and highlighted like anything I didn't know about or I hadn't seen mentioned. I'm like, Max, what is this thing? What is this thing? What is this thing? And
living the dream right there.
It tells me like everything he can remember about each and every feature. Like I said, power up modes, all this stuff, which we'll talk about in a minute. But that enough about that. I think we should get into some of the clips that I brought for you and the channel. And you haven't heard these yet. These I kind of grinded late last night, like pulling out clips from the show that I thought that you would like and that your channel would like too, because they each also have a little bit of a campaign connection, each of them. So
nice.
Excited to jump in. I think we should maybe just get into the first one.
Absolutely. Let's go.
Another fun one is that in a multiplayer game rules document from late 2002, we find that Juggernaut was originally very different from the final ship version, because we've seen leaked footage of the Juggernaut from campaign, the Flood Juggernaut. Sure. And the original multiplayer spec also states that the Juggernaut assumes the form of an actual Juggernaut from the game, sturdier, faster, do more damage, and can jump twice as high.
Yeah.
Instead of weapons, they rely on 2 tentacles linked to the left and right triggers, which are short-range melee attacks, and pressing the trigger of the tentacle that picked up the item then hurls that item at a terrific speed in the direction they're facing.
That was my plan. I just never could get enough manpower to implement it. Mm-hmm. So we had to implement, we had to work with what we had, play with the hand we were dealt. I'm trying to think whether we actually implemented a game mode and didn't ship it. I'd have to go look, but I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Oh, I got you. That's
okay. Is there one in my document?
It's a perfect tee-up.
Okay.
We've actually seen the game working in leaked Halo 2 beta builds.
Ooh, okay.
And it's pretty neat to see the actual spec.
Oh, that tease at the end.
A little bit of a tease there. A little bit of a tease at the end. I had to keep that in.
Man, the fact that we were actually going to be able to play as the Juggernaut in multiplayer. I had no idea about that. I thought Juggernaut was just called Juggernaut because you're a Juggernaut, you've got overshield and stuff, right? Like, not the fact that you can literally play as the Juggernaut. That is crazy. It's very cool that the like genesis of the mode Juggernaut now, no one knew that before this, but the genesis of that mode was literally playing as a Flood Juggernaut. Man, I hope seriously one day we actually get that to be a thing, because the idea of having being like a massive flood form with 2 tentacles that you can like smack down and pick up and throw things with, like, oh man, that sounds so fun. I would love to play that.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. There's a few other notes too that got cut from the final show, but I wanted to bring them to your channel. Yeah, you could pretty much pick up the plans where you could press X to pick up any object that was in range, like any Havoc object the game could pick up, and then it was a ranged attack and it did damage that was relative to like the item, so different items did like different damage. 2 really cool quick options though that I gotta tell you about. The first was that like Juggernaut type was just under a quick option, so you chose like Spartan or like Flood Juggernaut. It was listed as like monster in the documents, but pretty much those were the 2 options. But the game has an option for like more than 1 Juggernaut. So can you imagine like multiple Flood Juggernauts that you're going up against with like a full lobby? I agree, dude. It's got to come to a game sometime. It's got to come to a Halo game at some point.
I am, now that we've got mod tools for MCC, I guarantee there is someone out there who has just heard that very statement and it's like, right, I'm gonna make that. I guarantee you within like the next few weeks someone will have made that, because that sounds so sick. Like, you could even create like a Flood horror mode where it's like one person that's got quite a lot of shield, one spot and like a lot of shields. Again, it's like 10 Juggernauts. God, that would actually be quite terrifying. On like Zanzibar or something, just see him like walking like under the bridge or something, or like walking through the wheel. That'd be, oh man, that'd be so sick.
Yeah, it'd be amazing. Yeah, I'm now that you say that, I'm sure that modders are already playing around with what they might be able to do. So if that is what results from this show, is that we get that mode, then my year of work will be well worth it for sure.
Mission accomplished. Mission accomplished. Right, the next one.
Something dedicated Halo fans will have heard very lightly referenced in the Halo 2 prototype tech demo we referenced in episode number 2 was the idea of the Grunt voice filter and different voice masking filters. So we're going to go ahead and quickly play it again.
Listen up, the guys from Blizzard just moved in downstairs. They threw down the gauntlet. We all set to give them a little ass whooping, soccer, blood gulch?
Hey, dudes! You have room for one more, Grunty Grunt?
Jeez, guys, who's the guy with the grunt filter? Let's boot him.
Hey, no, wait!
So we promised we'd circle back to this during episode 2. And in addition to the standard Xbox Live voice mask that did ship, there were originally plans for the Grunt voice mask, as you heard there. Yeah. And then even more exciting is the fact that there were originally also plans for a Cortana voice filter, a Prophet filter, and a Chief filter as well, which would have been pretty great.
Yeah, I remember that because I think the idea with the voice masks actually started with the Xbox Live team and privacy concerns and all that. Mm-hmm. And I think our take on it was, okay, we get it, but why take you out of the fiction, right?
Right.
So that's kind of cool. What if we have these cool characters? What if we sort of fictionalize it in our world and give you this optional different voice masks? And then it kind of keeps you in the fiction of the game a bit more. But it never went beyond paper design.
Yeah. It's very cool that a feature like that, I would have not expected a feature like that to have been born from like a real kind of like issue with the game in the obviously privacy. This is like the first, at least for console players, the first kind of proper online gaming where you were talking with random people across the world that you didn't know. Dude, I can just imagine, right, getting into like a ranked Team Slayer game and some guy in your team's using the Grunt voice and you're like, oh, for God's sake, let's boot this guy, get some guy in here using Chief's voice or something. Like, funny enough, one of my greatest memories in gaming is actually from DayZ. Some guy creeped behind me and my team in that and used this demon voice filter and it legitimately creeped us out. And I can just imagine like a Flood voice filter or something that like really gobbles your voice up being used for like, infection or something. That's such a cool feature. And that little clip of Joe doing the Grunt voice and been booted for using it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's so good. We in episode, that was a clip from episode 4. In episode 2 we played like the full one and I'm sure like a lot of people have heard it, but if you haven't, you can go to David Canlin's website. It's can.land. I think it's /Halo2 Party, or if you just go to David Canlin's website. And then in episode 2, Sam and Max explain how like Xbox Live team did not get what Bungie's vision of Halo 2 online was going to be until they made that prototype tech demo. So they had to like work together, build this whole thing of like inviting someone to a party, showing them a saved film, which was still in Halo 2 at the time. Oh, wow. Then like partying up and then actually like playing a game together and everything. So as Max explained to me, it was like essentially what allowed Bungie to move forward and like build the vision of the future that they ended up building, which is pretty amazing.
Dude, yeah, I was going to say, that's crazy that one little voice clip there of Joe doing like a stupid Grunt voice is quite possibly the reason that Halo 2 innovated online matchmaking as much as it did.
Yeah, I know.
If it weren't for Joe's Grunt, matchmaking in video games nowadays, Call of Duty, Battlefield, any other game out there that has matchmaking that was built off Halo 2's, wouldn't be the same nowadays if it weren't for that Grunt.
It's true. It's all Joe Staten's Grunt VO. That's what we owe it to. But
that is fantastic. Dude, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you showing this off. If anyone wants to go and listen to the podcast, which I highly recommend you do, where can they find it?
I guess maybe the easiest thing will just be like to throw a single link in the description that'll bring you to like the whole show, and it's like a single link that'll let you listen wherever you want to listen. But of course, it's going to be, it's already out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, like wherever you want to listen to it. Hopefully you can. I'm so excited for people to listen. Episode 1's about to drop, so depending on when you watch this video at home, episode 1 may already be out, but the trailer's out, and it's an extended teaser, so it's like an 8-minute preview of the show that you can listen to. But I can't thank you enough, Luke, for just like your enthusiasm about the show and offering to bring me on, because you've built such a badass channel here, so it means like a lot to be able to talk about the show on your channel with you, man.
Dude, once again, thank you so much for coming on and showing this off. I really appreciate it. Guys, if episode 1 is out by the time I release this video, the link will be in the description. So right now, go and check the description out. Click on all the links to the podcast. You will not regret it. Guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I'll catch you all in the next one.